Welcome to a podcast capturing the antics of two geeks who talk about video game culture and influence, both old and new, all through chaotic banter and tangential tangents that make no sense. My name is Mask.
I can play the Monty Python intermission music if you want.
This is my pal Red.
Garou Mark of the Wilds. Okay.
And together we make the Reddmasq Podcast.
This is episode 24. I can make a transition from this. This is totally not The Onion, which is actually going to be my next little segment here, but not really, because this isn't gaming news, but I'm going to report on it anyway, because it's close enough. And we've seen enough of, the Hard Times and, other parody sites to know that, yeah, they tend to kind of run their course after a while, but when they happen, and when they have a funny moment, oh boy. But The Onion recently got sold off to a founder of Twilio. There's a lot of just, very funny moments coming out of interviews from that. It's oh, I bought that? I actually didn't know. Just, self-acknowledged, wince humor, in a way. Hopefully, people can actually, find The Onion humorous at some point again with this transition, but who knows, because none of the writing on there is actually worth your time. I'm kidding.
The Onion
everything is there is worth your time. It's hilarious.
The one thing that I think the thing The Onion should be known for the most is this headline: "No way to prevent this, says only nation where this regularly happens."
Yes. There's a lot of connotations and context is the word I'm looking for. Context.
It's
you'll only find from parody.
Yeah, it's the way it's set up is that they've run this story multiple times, only changing the key details, where did it happen? Because this is about, also, content warning, this is about mass shootings.
Yeah.
In America. This is literally just every time a mass shooting happens that gets on the news, The Onion runs this same article with the same title and all the same text, except for a small few key details, like where it happened, how many people got gunned down, and then some just random person.
National tragedies and disasters like this being covered by a parody thing. It's driving home the point where The Onion started as something that's oh, well, here's this funny article someone sent, click.
But it's also just
that kind of thing you get in your email, but now it has evolved into just this medium where a lot of just context can only be told through parody, and that's the only place you'll see it.
It's satire. I think the word you're looking for is satire.
Yes.
Where it's satirizing stuff as a criticism of it, you know?
The Onion is a totem to satire.
Yes.
The good, the bad, and the very, very unsettling and ugly, which we all have to deal with at some point here in all of our lines of work. But yeah.
Indeed.
But hey, there's some bullshit happening here.
Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite article from them. It was actually from, the old Onion News Network skit from, the mid-2000s. It was great.
Yeah, it was just... Yeah, that's some satire that's mostly, pointing out how bullshit the 24-hour news cycle is.
It's mostly harmless by comparison, and it's just, it just has a gentleman pointing to a piece of paper. I went spent so long in college just to point at this piece of paper for my 15 minutes of fame here. I feel you, my friend. I feel you.
You told me to tag ourselves.
I know,
I originally tagged myself as the bear.
Yeah.
But then when I got to the end and I saw coming up next, this thing, and it was no, I take it back. I tag myself as I forget what it was, but it was just some expert calling
marijuana
for
rights or something.
Marijuana money.
Yeah.
it's so
which is legal in most states now, which is great.
Thank God. I don't know if it's legal here in Indiana. I can imagine we take forever.
It is here.
Dude,
all thanks to The Onion.
We only legalized Sunday sales of alcohol within the last decade. I don't want to touch drugs here in Indiana because we're fucking bullshit.
Drugs.
There's some bullshit happening here, all right. It's all got to do with the drugs.
Exactly. But yeah, love it, hate it. You're not going to really get another site like The Onion. It is a totem and a testament. Oh wait, no, I was just kidding. There are sites like it everywhere. Media is great. I used to like Cracked. One of my friends really liked Cracked growing up and all the articles and satire that was on that too.
Yeah, I remember reading some Cracked. I don't know if they're so cracked right now, but I haven't like touched it in years.
A lot of the articles don't age well.
Oh yeah, like that's
Imagine
the.
that.
I mean, imagine that when you got a bunch of sharp when you got a bunch of people with sharp tongues saying all kinds of shit. Imagine that. Imagine that the insults would stop being okay. Whatever.
This is what I call taking it off the hinge.
This
Get
is what
it?
we call this.
Unhinged.
This is what we call time is a relentless bastard.
And a flat circle.
Ah, God, make it stop. I want this. All right.
Okay, that was a lot of fun to just kind of talk through. I don't have no idea why I just segued, but I still have to talk about the fact that like I went to a science fair and saw some neat stuff. Like someone tried to recreate a calculator. No, not a calculator. My bad. The 1969 lunar landing computers. The whole processor behind that, which has as much power as a calculator. Granted, it would be like a TI Inspire, which is like an ARM-based processor calculator. That's a whole other ballpark.
Nice.
So, but everyone that says like, "Oh, hey, we landed on the moon with just calculator computers," that's a lie.
What one of those fucking memes? Computers back in the day, we land a person on the moon with only a megabyte. Computers today, Chrome tabs scary.
They really are. It's like a no man's land in Chrome tabs. Please help! I have like 30 tabs open about developing something.
Where's your issue? You only have 30 tabs open.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I will not have you turn me off. Thank you very much.
No, but like the science fair that I went to, it's like the in-between of like the Makers Fair and like this little conference. So you have people that are working on projects for aerospace, you have drones, you have all sorts of other stuff in between, and it's really interesting, and I always go and take photos, and I had a great time. Honestly, it's just really nice to go out and just see all the other projects that students, like myself, have kind of finished in their off time. I brought my badge and got some comments on that, which was nice. I do not have photos or anything like the Indie Classic, so unfortunately there will be no bonus video for this. I may have a photo I may link to, though, on the website of one or two projects that kind of struck my interest here, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, there was a game I played there, actually. I didn't tell you about this yet. The game I played there was a bunch of like tech demos, like indie stuff. So in terms of like the scale of these games, think like Tag the Power of Paint to Portal in terms of scope. So student developer projects. The game was called Cog Key. So it's more of a concept than an actual game, but overall it's made in Mixamo. And you have to go through these levels and solve puzzles with these keys. It's kind of a little like Braid, but again, mostly a concept game. You have 3 keys that you use and unlock as you progress, and the puzzles become more complicated. So you have a key that stops platforms and allows you to open doors. You have a key that speeds up conveyor belts and other certain environmental objects like fans. And you have a key that reverses the direction of fans and conveyor belts and platforms and such. And I played the demo there for about an hour, I believe, and instructed gave feedback. The dev team was really nice there. They were taking notes the whole time, so they were really interested in kind of moving on with this once they kind of figure out where to go next, I think. Because, like with Portal and Tag the Power of Paint, they had to get a company's attention in order to build on that into a bigger concept. Which is, in fact, how Portal came to be. They wrapped it in the Half-Life universe, which really kind of helped it take off into the zeitgeist that it is today. It really was something you had to be there for a lot of it. You had to especially be there for the ARG. Do you remember that, Red? Literally, people were getting, like, potato achievements and, like, going through a whole, like, unlocking process for, like, spoilers and trailers for the game.
I do not. I'm remembering it. What you're saying is I kind of. Oh God.
They basically abridged it in the comic for everyone else. That kind of.
Yeah, I feel like I remember hearing about it, but I don't know what the hell that was about, actually.
People were collecting the potato badges in order to unlock trailers and more information about the game, and up until the ultimate release at midnight on, I want to say it was like June 7th, 2013, but I don't know why that date stuck in my head. April 18th, 2011.
Yeah.
I was way off there. But yeah, onto that release date. That's really what I kind of have to say about Portal. The ARG was the coolest thing, and like it wouldn't be possible without like Valve noticing games like Tag the Power of Paint, and this COD key game might have the same sort of appeal. Who knows? Time will tell. We now return to our talk with the Paramount Plus Knuckle series. There are spoilers. You have been warned.
So we have to go
this ain't
with
it,
just...
Chief. This is the ESPN 8 The Ocho talking about it.
So they had to say, like, it was basically just bowling, Tournament of Champions. Like, because the PBA ain't going to join us on this one. Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way. And a lot of those tournament players are really goddamn goofy, too, because they were all just caricatures.
Yeah, pretty much cartoons.
And fucking Pete was a fucking Cockney caricature through and through. Not only does Pete Whipple lose the tournament, he tries to steal the trophy after the bad guy ruins everything and instead gets his ass kicked by his daughter. So, good for him and her, I guess. Yeah. But like, okay, so that's like the overarching plot, right?
Well, kind of. We're like the conclusion of the plot.
But I need to talk about how they do the 10th frame now. Because the 10th frame does not
They made a massive blunder on this.
The 10th frame, well, it's because it doesn't fucking matter for the series. But the 10th frame, if you manage to close it out, you're guaranteed to get 3 balls on it. So if you get a spare, you get an extra one. If you get a strike, you get 2 extra ones. Because that's supposed to be like, it goes with the scoring system of like, a spare is 10 plus 1, the next ball. A strike is 10 plus the next 2 balls. So it's meant to allow you to get to like that 300.
It lets it kind of work out to being a nice even number.
Yeah, so you get 12 strikes for a perfect 300 game. Anyways, so the way they had it happen in the series is that it came down to like the wire in the 10th frame, it happens. I literally showed you the literal clip of Pete Weber yelling, "Who do you think you are? I am," is of him winning by 1 pin in the 10th frame. Yes. So it happens a lot. No worries. The way they do the 10th frame is that Pete throws his ball. He leaves the 7 pin because it's the callback to the first episode. And it doesn't fall. It wobbles and doesn't fall down. And then he picks it up. So it's a spare. All right. So he gets his 3rd ball, right? No. He just doesn't get his 3rd ball, and now all that Wade needs to do is get a strike, and he'll win. No, those are both 10 pins in score before the next balls. Hello, what? No,
they just kind of cut it out there. I assumed that he got a strike off screen, and that it was just fine because they did this like, oh, perfect, not in a wiggle.
I just assumed. Again, it's basically not important. This is just bowling pedantry right now, which we're having fun with.
Yes.
So a spare and a strike on their own would be equal. You'd have to do more balls to see how it goes. If you get like but so Wade goes and he gets a strike and that counts as a win, right? It counts just as a win for some reason. Okay. And then they don't give him his next 2 balls.
It just kind of skipped that part. And then the plot happens to come crashing through the wall there.
The gun agents get a tool to help locate Knuckles from somebody, from like another gun agent. They steal it and make it for just themselves, and then they kick him into Mushroom Hill. And I just assume he dies.
Yeah,
I just assume he's dead.
He's just gone.
He's gone. They just murdered a guy on screen, and then those agents those 2 agents at the end get sent into their own rings to other worlds, and that they also probably die.
Yeah, they kind of look like Portal now. Speaking of Portal. Anyway.
Eggman survived because he's Eggman and is a complete whack case.
Pretty much.
They're gonna die. Those three gun agents are just fucking dead. They're gone.
Out of the lore.
Out of the lore and into hell where they belong. Yes. Along with the flames of disaster.
I tried to hint at you the whole time through the series because I saw this as a spoiler and I was like, this can't be a thing, can it? They can't pull from lore ahead of Sonic Adventure because that's what the Sonic 3 movie's plot is. Now you have to worry about the plot of Sonic 2006.
So let's go over how that whole thing goes, that whole fucking segment. Because what it is basically Wade Whipple starts meditating and has Patch-Kamak, this is where Patch-Kamak at the bowling alley comes in.
Right.
That, like, people saw that thing and were like, what the fuck does that, what? And it turns out it makes sense in context
Right.
somehow.
Somehow they made it work. It made it like a Broadway show
I can't
out of
believe,
it sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. That's also very goofy because
Yes.
like in this fucking corny ass bowling alley in Wade Whipple's mind with Patch Kamak at the helm, they start doing this stupid Broadway musical of the story of Knuckles, and like. So, like, of how the Knuckles, like, how the echidnas all went extinct except for Knuckles because of the fucking owls.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to see Knuckles' dad die as a Muppet.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, actual Muppet.
then-
like, they pull out all the stops for that.
Like they literally, like, they're all in, like, just guys in costumes for most, like, really poorly fitting costumes for most of it. And then for the Knuckles' dad dying, the guy turns into a Muppet instead. And then that's the only time the Muppet appears.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure. Smash cut to a Muppet. Thanks.
Yes.
But after that, we go into like how Knuckles moved on and Wade Whipple takes the wrong lesson from it to start. It's like, oh, it's in his fists. And so he goes back into the real world, gets his shit kicked in by the thing he's trapped in. And he's like, okay, you ready for us to go? He goes back in. He's like, are you ready for us to finish now? Yeah. And so we learn. And you were hinting it at me. You were like trying to give it to me.
Like give it to you through the commercials
make my
and stuff
brain
because
work.
like you and I like watched Lythero's video about like all the Sonic bullcrap that goes on in 2006.
Yeah.
And like
The
one in
silver
particular,
his silver-
it's the Silver story, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. His silver campaign video is actually the full fucking game again.
Yeah, so that's
It's
pretty
just
broad
this-
strokes for what you had to figure out there, but you got it midway through.
Yeah, I was
To
like,
your credit.
I was like, you made me think about it, and it was like a boss fight, and it's in Silver's campaign. That's all I'm gonna give you. It's like, what boss fights were there in Silver's campaign? Oh no, it's Iblis.
Yes, they pull out the whole Iblis trigger bullshit. Just for the flames of disaster.
It's not okay. For the love of fucking,
I know
for the
you have
love
to
of
explain it
fucking
to me
God.
here. You have to explain to me here on the air.
I need you to stop saying the Iblis trigger. The Iblis trigger is what causes Iblis to escape.
Yeah.
AKA, that's Elise and Sonic, because Sonic dies and Elise cries, causing Iblis to be released because Sonic 06's plot
Terrible.
is, but
Every time I say that, it makes you wince at me, so I do it all the time.
Thanks.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
a lot. Iblis is in Knuckles' backstory and how he figures out his own power in his heart. And Knuckles' power is actually called the Flames of Disaster, which is another name for Iblis. So Knuckles is now Iblis, I guess, but like, nah, that's
Yes.
just a reference.
No,
that's just a
maybe.
That's the reference to Sonic 06, basically. Like Knuckles beats Iblis with the Flames of Disaster. So in this movie continuity, the Flames of Disaster are Knuckles' power, which is a reference to Iblis' other name, Flames of Disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that I have to talk about Sonic 06 like this.
It could be worse. They could have brought back Mephiles.
No, that's gonna be saved for Sonic 3.
Probably. We'll see.
The Shadow series.
Oh,
where
yeah.
We have to
That'll be
we have to
great.
we have to do Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, and it's gonna be awful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I just like that the movie continuity is just speed running all the games. So it's like Sonic 1 is just Sonic, so it's like Sonic 1. Sonic 2, the movie, is Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, technically, and Knuckles in the continuity.
And some Adventure 1.
So Sonic 3 the Sonic 3 movie is going to be like the adventure games 1 and 2
Adventure
probably.
1 and 2, but like some stuff around the era like Heroes, maybe Riders, I don't know.
And because it's the Sonic 3 movie, they were like, we can do a Knuckles joke really fast and make a side series.
Indeed.
And that's what this is.
Oh, and then they watched with the special stage. And I forgot that was part of the skit. That was funny.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. This part of this Broadway musical skit inside Wade's mind. They have Knuckles go into a special stage, and it's a Sonic 2 special stage, which clearly they must have been playing with lock-on technology, because that's the only way that's going to happen.
Exactly.
That's absurd, honestly. First, I need to talk about the family scene, because Knuckles and Wade go visit his mom, and his sister is also there.
Sonic and the whole like religion element of this movie is so fucking out of left field, but they made so much work.
We find out that Wade and his family are Jewish. So, and for some goddamned reason, Wade has a bowling yarmulke, and I hate him for it. Anyways, so they're at dinner, and his like they're having to deal with the fact that Knuckles is also there because it's freaking them out because he's basically an alien for them. But there was one line in that fucking family episode that took me the fuck out. So the wife, the mom is talking to Knuckles about about where he came, what his story is, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the last of my kind," and it immediately goes into a Holocaust joke of like he's practically Jewish, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking scream.
Jewish.
I'm gonna fucking scream. I
It
can't
wasn't
believe
just
this
you.
shit.
People on Twitter were freaking out about that too.
It's like, I can't believe you made a Holocaust joke in a Sonic thing and made it work. That's what actually upsets me.
I
is that
have
it
no
fucking
idea how
worked.
that's going to age, so I hesitate to respond. But
the reason
holy
it works
fuck.
is the reason it works is because it's not just an edgy bullshit joke. It's literally like, oh yeah, he's the last of his kind. Yeah, he's practically Jewish, right? And it's like, fucking God. And it's being said by Jews, so it's like, yeah. Oy vey. Speaking of Jews, oy vey. Anyways, and then a bunch of bounty hunters come in and fuck up their house because they're trying to kill Wade because he has a bounty on his head because the gun agents are pieces of shit.
one of those agents was actually his old bowling coach.
Yeah, that's one of those Chekhov's gunman kind of situations, huh?
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Basically, he's in the intro at the bowling. He's basically bowling with Wade.
Oh,
He
he's
gets
my
kicked.
favorite guy. I called him Gay Danny Trejo, even though that's totally not him, but like he pulls off the motif well.
Yeah, he's basically Wade's bowling partner. He gets kicked. Wade,
I
he's
say
the one
that
who kicks
endearingly,
Wade.
by the way. I just have to throw that out there. Anyway, I love him. Anyway,
The bounty hunter is the one who kicks Wade off the team because he hits the pocket and leaves a 7-pin because if you're gonna kick somebody off a team because they hit the pocket and they leave a 7 or a 10 pin, you're dumb. You're
Yep.
just dumb. But like he kicks him off, like basically he's just this giant asshole to Wade, and like pretend like he was basically his ex-friend basically, and then he becomes a hunter and he's like, damn. And so Wade has to go into his mind to figure out how to beat his ass. He beats his ass and he steals, and Wade gets his clothes. Anyways.
he steals
But-
his jacket.
And yeah, basically he steals
It's a nice
basically
leather
everything.
jacket.
Oh, there's also a fucking Paul Blart Mall Cop joke.
Yep, like straight up from the Paul Blart Mall Cop series, or is it just like
No,
the actor?
What it was is they get to Reno to do the bowling tournament. And it's like, oh my god, they say the actor. They
Vegas
say the
for
actor.
losers, and they own the bit because it literally brings back ESPN 8 The Ocho. That's another
Yeah.
movie down. Take that. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a bowling ball.
We are pretty much balls deep in this at this point,
Hell yeah.
like Catherine. Anyways,
Oh my
So-
god.
so they basically say like, oh, the person who's like oh, this person is performing here, and then Knuckles is like the mall cop, and it's like fucking because the person they say is the actor for Paul Blart, and I'm just I curse you.
I curse
Okay.
you and your family. This episode is brought to you by us. We work hard in making an exciting show each week, chaos included. Check out the links in the show notes for ways to help support the show. This includes our coffee page, which you can find at ko-fi.com/mask31. Covered two Sega things that happened this week, but what about something that's a little more on the fan-made side, a little more put together, a little more genius, so to speak?
A little more off the walls in terms of
Very
how
off
it-
the walls
how
in
it
terms of
how it like originally released, and then they
It's
got
like
out
how
the
it
next.
started, how it's going.
So their original release was off the walls in like a lot of weird ways, and then like 2 days later they got the update out to make it a lot better.
Hey,
And it is a
remember
lot
the time
better.
we had an episode where we talked about Sonic Roboblast 2 Kart? Yeah, that's the game that got a sequel. Dr. Robotnik's Ring Racers, baby.
Dr. Robotnik's Ring Racers. So the whole reason I was aware of the game was because I actually did see the launch trailer. I was like, oh, that's neat. That's neat. I can't wait to watch like Lythero play it or something. But I wasn't expecting to go on Twitter and see people like download the game and play it and be like, what the fuck is going on with the tutorial? What are some of these unlocks?
Let's just dive into the rabbit hole that is the nonsense this game has been presenting over the past week here, because beyond being a fun, albeit frustrating, we'll get to that game, it has a fair share of weird.
And it has some interesting design decisions, which I can kind of see what they were doing. But the original release, V2.0, was a lot more egregious with them. V2.1 fixed a ton of that.
Yep, they listened to community feedback. They directly responded to what kind of issues people were having and quickly patched the game.
Yeah.
However, before that, you were introduced to a menu when you started the game, and that was it. You were forced to basically have your hand held through a whole tutorial section.
And intro, because it's also technically like an introduction to like the quote unquote story of it and like the setting of it, where it's like Dr. Robotnik is a good guy right now, and he's worked with Tails to make these new carts that run on ring energy or whatever. But it starts off with like them talking about Metal Sonic, who apparently going on a rampage and needing to be shut down temporarily and rebooted to be a little bit more like, hey, get your act together, dumbass. It's basically you're basically learning the tutorial and the intro through the eyes of Metal Sonic as he's like rebooting himself. Like you got to set your video settings so you can actually see again. You basically, there's a lot of story about with Tails and Dr. Robotnik. A lot
of thematics going on with the tutorial.
Setting up your profile, which is basically like your custom settings and also like color and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And then you get into the tutorial, which and just to talk about the original version, you could not skip it unless you, at the very start of the tutorial, you turned around and did this race, which in the original release was literally max level CPU. And I looked at how many levels of CPU there were in the free race. There's 13 levels of difficulty. And they were set to that 13th. They were set to that 13th level for that tutorial race. And you had to get fourth or better in one try. If you did not get it in one try, you were absolutely forced to go into the tutorial.
You better be good at this game, or else.
Yeah. And if you do the tutorial, like people who were just starting off were like, one of the things you have to do in the tutorial is outrun a self-propelled bomb, which is the game's blue shell. And the way the SPB, as it's called, works is that basically it goes at your max speed. So as long as you're able to like drive like a maniac and stay above top speed by drifting and just being good at the fucking game,
advanced techniques and such,
you can avoid getting blown up. It's a skill check. It is the hardest skill check blue shell I've ever seen in a game. And it's like I remember watching, and if you watch like Lythero play SRB 2K, like whenever he's in the lead and he gets a SPB sent at him, he hits a stream button that turns on, that has Sonic Yell blows up and then it starts playing Green Forest. Because it has just a straight up SA2 reference, because that's literally how Green Forest starts. You find out the island's about to blow up, and you have 8 minutes to get the fuck out of there.
Exactly.
But it's really funny. But like part of the tutorial is you have 3 segments where you have to outrun that damn thing, hit an item, and then use it to destroy the bomb. And it's like, right off the bat, that is a pretty big skill check.
You're just talking about one element of this tutorial that's, how long was it again? Oh yeah, 45 minutes.
Because they cover a lot of like, it's basically like a little adventure thingy. It's like, imagine if you were playing like it was like if a platformer level was in a kart game.
Right.
Where you're just kind of like, you have like a little mission where you have to like go around and find switches to hit. And they cover a lot of mechanics. And they don't actually cover all of the mechanics. And like a lot of the mechanics they do cover are kind of like really niche, which is kind of like part of the problem that people had with the tutorial, was that it was like well, it's a lot of character dialogue, which is super cool if you're into that.
Right.
But a lot of people were just trying to get into a tutorial and get into the game.
Exactly,
and
because they just started it up. They want to change
Yeah.
settings. They want to figure out what's going on with the game themselves.
They
Meanwhile, they
want
have to learn about things like drifting. They have to learn about things like the new ring boost system.
And
they have to
to
learn
be
about things
fair,
like the trick system if you're in midair, fast falling. The list keeps going.
and to be fair, a lot of those mechanics are main mechanic, but there were some that are like a lot more niche because like. Specifically, the insta whip that barely gets used
Because it happens when you have no rings, which
Yeah.
should not happen in a race. Because if you have no rings, you are going to get juggled and then beat to
Yeah.
last place very painfully.
If you have no rings, you cannot ring boost, which means you are going slow as shit. And if you get bumped by somebody or hit by any item, you go into a tumble state and just get fucking juggled. And if you get all the way down to negative 20 rings somehow and get hit, you just blow up and have to respawn. It is a kind of, it's one of those mechanics where I'm like, this is really neat that you have this, but it kind of feels really specific.
Indeed.
It's almost like it's a kind of a thing that exists. And you're just like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not good enough to understand how
There's
the game completely
nuance
works.
to it, of course, but like you have to kind of know how the game works overall.
Like they talked about how if you hit a trick spring, but there's fans blowing you up. If you just stay in the trick state without doing a trick, you can just ride those fans up, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have yet to do a race with that in it, but I've only done 8 races so far. So what do I know?
There are races where you will have to use and learn how to use the trick system. I had to use one in the 4th cup, I believe.
That is absolutely something I had to learn for the second special stage.
Gotcha. Okay.
Using tricks to...
I'm sure we can talk about like the gameplay mechanics and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Beyond the tutorial when we're done bashing the tutorial.
We are definitely going to talk about that at some point because there's a lot to this game and there's a lot of meat to it. It might, and if there's so much meat to it that you got to be careful that you're not overeating. Okay.
It's a lot for a particular type of customer too. It is a very hard game. Not just after the tutorial. It's just like this game has mechanics that will very much reminisce Mario Kart, in which you go from like 2nd to 7th place, but may have trouble catching up afterwards.
Oh yeah, like you are going to go into the Grand Prix, and it is not. You are going to have to expect that you're not going to come in first place each and every time, because the AI will rock you if it gets the chance. Partially because like the rubber banding can be really rough, but I also just linked you a Twitter about the code with the AI. So. Okay, so we can look at that later, but I need to talk about, like, we need to finish the tutorial first. So you get through the tutorial, there's a lot of things they cover, you're forced to go through it in the original version, and it just takes a while, right? Because there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of things they go over, like the spray cans that you can find around the stages that unlock custom colors for your characters. I did like all the character dialogue, honestly, because it was charming, but I can imagine why it might get on people's nerves if they're trying to get into the game and play with their friends, you know? So I can understand that much, at least. It's that double-edged sword example, which is understandable. Anyways, we get past the tutorial, including that fucking busted-ass race if you try to do it in the original version, which Lee Lythero did that on purpose because he is a fighting game player. Of course he's going to do the hard shit. He wants to get his ass kicked to learn. That's who he is.
We ended up watching a stream of him entering at 2.0 just to kind of see what it was about. One of the devs from Kart Crew, the folks behind the game, was kind of lurking in the chat the whole time. They were like, don't play this version. What are you doing? No.
Yeah, like they were worried because it's like you're gonna give him a bad impression, and he just like paused and was like, "Don't worry, man. I did this to myself because this is the kind of thing I prefer."
Yes.
Like, don't you worry your damn ass off. This shit's hard, and you were right to fix it. But this is what I live in.
It really goes to show like how much these teams care, even though they're not getting paid for it. Even though this is just like a free fan game sort of thing.
Yeah,
it really shows like there's goodwill towards a community here, and that's nice to see.
And the game's damn good, too, with what we played. I only played 2 cups, but I was like, I don't see myself playing this too much because it's so much. It's a lot going on, and I didn't even play that much SRB 2K anyways. It's a great game, though, when we played. I was like, I'm seeing the quality. I just have other games I would prefer playing because I'm a weirdo. Anyways,
I played through a good chunk of it. I did go through a lot of the single player stuff. The unlocks are blisteringly hard to just kind of find out and grind out, so to speak.
Let's keep talking about some of those unlocks for the original release, okay?
After I mentioned how much I actually swear playing this game, it's like jarring because I never swear at video games. It's just like a game, you know? I'm just having fun, having a good time. I'm not having a good time with this game half the time. It's frustrating luck. It's like, I mean, the game has slots in it. You are literally playing slots, and you have limited control over what you're actually doing, which is just like...
Ironically,
this frustrates me. This game I've described as a game for masochists at point.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It is
like, okay, so first off, there is a ton of unlocks, but in the original release... some of the main mechanics, some of the main modes were locked behind like clearing a cup. Like to unlock online mode to play with other people, you had to clear one cup, right? Mm-hmm. And then there was also like you had to unlock the ability to load add-ons by clearing more cups. And I think the most egregious one though had to be the time trials.
Yes.
To unlock the time trials in the original release, you had to clear all of the original 14 cups. Which each of those cups, which we'll go into more detail later, has 5 races in them, and you have to win every cup, or at least place
and 2 bonus stages.
You have to hit bronze at least, which the special stages don't fucking matter for that. It's just getting a bronze at least in each cup for the first 14, because there's another 14 as well if you do something special, which we'll go over in a second. And to start off with, you only see like 7 of the cups and have 1 of them unlocked, so there's like I said, this game has so much meat to it. You need to be careful you don't overeat.
Right.
But yeah, you had to unlock online mode by clearing one of the cups, which is kind of I understand the thought process behind it because it's like you need to prove that you're ready for online, right? Racing the AI is a completely different beast to racing other people, and also like people just kind of want to play with their friends sometimes.
Indeed.
I can see the thought process, and I'm like, I disagree. And they did change it, so it's like a lot easier unlock. I think it's still like one cup, but it's like a lot easier now.
So, Red, when we did play together, how did that go?
It's also a lot easier to skip the tutorial now in the new version. So now that we've talked about we'll talk about online here in a second.
Yeah, I want to actually get to how salty both of us were after this.
We played version 2.1, which has a lot of the good fixes in it. Like,
it fixes a lot of the problems.
First off, the tutorial allows you to exit at multiple points. You're allowed to attempt the skip race at multiple points as well. And the skip race is made a lot easier. The AI is no longer at max difficulty. You still need to get top 4 in order to get away to beat it, but it's so much more manageable without the AI demolishing you at every turn. Like, because originally, basically with the computer at max level, it was basically you want to skip the tutorial, show that you've mastered the game, which is not exactly connected to how a tutorial works. The tutorial is just supposed to teach you how the game works, not master it. The mastery comes from playing the game a bunch.
For hours and hours and many hours and a lot of luck.
Yeah, like even when Lythero was playing the skip race multiple times and he won a couple, and he was winning. He wasn't winning consistently still.
He went from 6th place to 2nd place when he crossed the finish line on a 3rd lap once. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, the game gets pretty silly like that. But like there were several times, like even after he had cleared the race, where he would try it again and lose, and that's like it's inconsistent. But they changed it so it's no longer that goofy. So it's nice. I was able to do it. I got 1st place and an A rank because this game has ranks. By the way,
it does.
The game has ranks. The rank is based on your lap bonus and how many rings you ended with. Well, at least in Grand Prix mode, the rings matter. Your lap bonus is what determines your actual rank. So the lap bonus is basically if you finish in the top half, you gain 1 point. If you finish a lap in 1st place, you get 2 points. And an A rank basically requires you to get like a majority of those points for yourself, right?
Indeed.
And that's useful in Grand Prix because that determines what rank you'll get at the very end, which can go all the way up to S rank if you go above and beyond.
I haven't yet
Because
to see an S rank.
I've only gotten B ranks on the cups, man, even with all the shit I've gotten.
I got one
But
A rank on the first cup, and that's it.
yeah, so how the ranks work for the online mode, though, is that they have online ranking, like online ratings, like it's Mario Kart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way they have it set up is to prevent you from getting ruined by a Mario Kart,
Which is
by getting
the
Mario
colloquial
Karted.
term of like getting red shelled, blue shelled, then getting red shelled, then getting hit by like a star. Yeah, there's like the famous Donkey Kong Mountain gif for like getting knocked off the bridge where Peach goes
Daisy
from, like, first.
Daisy gets hit by
Daisy.
Daisy is in first place, and she gets hit by like literally every single item, and ends up in 8th in the very end. It was Wii, so she ended up in 12th place.
Pretty much.
That's what getting Mario Karted is.
Yes.
The lab bonus for online ratings is supposed to help stop that, which is great if you have a full server. It doesn't really work for 1v1 though, because you and I were doing 1v1s online, and I left the rating on because I was like, I wonder what this is going to be like. And it turns out I hate it. I don't want it on when I play that game because it's
You're
fucking
at
stupid.
the risk of like if you run a bad race, losing like 50 to 1,000 online points. That's an exaggeration. 50 to 100.
No, I can explain it to you really fast. In a 1v1 at least, when you got all the lap bonus and left me with an E rank and won, I lost 50 points. However, the times where I won and had a lower rank than you, like because you had most of the lap bonus and got an A rank, and I got a D rank for having only one lap bonus because I managed to pull it around, I only gained 2 rating because it's basically like, oh, you got Mario Karted, so you're not going to lose much rating, right? Even though it's a 1v1. It doesn't. That's why it doesn't really work for a 1v1, because getting Mario Kart in a 1v1 doesn't exist. That's not going to happen, especially with a game as fine-tuned as this, where getting hit by items is kind of your own fault too, because you can dodge them. So it's a bit weird like that. And it's mostly for large servers. Doing 1v1s does not lead to the online rating system to make much sense. That's all I want to say about that. Also, I thought it was neat. If you're doing a 1v1 race, the game actually like acknowledges it at the start of a race, where instead of like when the race starts, it says duel, like you're dueling effectively.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's neat. I like that. It's a neat little addition. Okay, so that's the online mode. Okay. Let's talk about the Grand Prix mode.
I finished my analysis on your rival, and I have to say, this is bullshit. It's also labeled, which is like code labeling helps, but like the card code is like they get more speed than you, they double their speed, they give increased speed under certain circumstances. They also quadruple the speed under other circumstances with like ring power. If they're using ring power, they just get quadruple speed. Oh my
and you'll watch people, and if you watch some people play it,
it's like it doesn't engage to like the middle of the race either, but like you'll also end up like seeing your opponent like go invincible because like they have 3 times better item odds at times as well.
This is literally like Super Mario Kart levels of AI fuckery.
It is garbage.
No. Super Mario Kart is the items fuckery. Mario Kart 64 is the other rubber banding fuckery.
Indeed.
Because like that's like if you watch people play this game, when they're about to cross the finish line, this is what like they'll see their rival just blast past them at like triple their speed. Like, are you fucked? Like you couldn't do, like there was nothing you could do about that. That's getting Mario Karted.
Schadenfreude.
But I want you to look at that Twitter thread I showed you and look at the second image on the second tweet image.
You said the roulette X section there.
No. The image of the fighting game character, because this man, do you know who this fighting game character is?
Slips the mind.
I don't remember his name, but he is like a very infamously bullshit fighting game boss.
Okay, he's gotta be an SNK boss.
No, I don't think so. I think his name is the Colonel. Hang on.
Kaiser Knuckle.
His name is okay, so the game is Kaiser Knuckle, and he's the general. He's like the final boss. He's your Akuma. He was kind of bullshit. Like, he was infamous for being over, like, tuned.
Right, yes.
So the fact that this person used them in this comparison is a very, very strong comparison.
It's a title fighting game. No wonder it didn't survive. So, title fighting games take the SNK boss and turn him up to 11 million degrees Kelvin.
Like, he went undefeated as a final boss for years because of how stupid he was. Here we go. The
Incredible.
fighters. The main antagonist and final boss of Kaiser Knuckle / Global Champion. General is the sponsor of the Kaiser Knuckle tournament, but his reasons for blah blah blah. He is also the General is infamously one of the most difficult fighting game bosses to defeat due to the incredibly cheap AI of computer-controlled opponents in Kaiser Knuckle. Yeah. So imagine it's just, he's infamous for being bullshit. That's the whole thing. So the fact that that is the comparison they're making to the AI in the Grand Prix mode of Dr. Robotnik's Ring Racers is an absurdly strong comparison to how bullshit they are. Because they are kind of bullshit. But like, there was one race where I was able to like get maximum lap bonus. Like I had to retry because I got my ass kicked. But I guess I learned somehow with my peanut brain, and I managed to like dominate
Neuron
the race the second
activation.
time around. My neurons, that really activated my almonds, and I aced that goddamn race.
Hey.
Also, so to talk more about the Grand Prix beyond just the AI. Okay, there's
It's
five races.
Stages, yeah.
It's
and
5 races.
2 bonus stages.
So well, they're not bonus stages. It's the way it goes. You have 2 races, then you have what is called a prison stage, which is like a little bonus stage, but it's like imagine you were doing target test or board the platforms in Smash Brothers. It's
Except
one of
you're
those
freeing
things.
the flickies from their little cage. That's why they call it a prison stage.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And you have a time limit to do it all in, and you gain more time by blowing up those prisons, et cetera, et cetera. If you manage to blow up all the prisons in a Grand Prix run, you get a lot more score for your final rank. Because, like, you get in rank for the whole cup, right? It's based on your total point. Like, it's based on a number of things, like the points you earned from placing, but also, like, your lap bonus, the amount of rings you ended each race with, how many times you continued, and how many prisons you broke in those special stages, right? So you have 2 races, a prison stage, another 2 races, another prison stage, the final race, and then I'm not sure what the requirements are, but I've gotten it both times so far. You get to go into a special stage where you have to go after a Chaos Emerald.
I still haven't been able to get a single one of those, so I'm not sure what the requirements are, but I feel like they require not restarting a race.
Well, maybe. Well, I'm going to say right now, I think it might have to do with ending races with rings, because that's something I try to do a lot of. Because
Okay.
it gives me extra.
I always have 0 rings when I cross the finish line.
Yeah, most people do because you're using those rings to speed across the finish line and win without dying or
exactly.
losing. But here's the thing though, if you end every 20 rings you manage to end races with, like cumulative for that cup, you'll gain an extra continue, which is very useful, especially for the special stage. So if you end if you end all 5 races with 20 rings, you will get 5 extra continues from that, which you can then spend on the fucking special stage as you learn it and get your ass kicked by it multiple times. Because the way it works is the emerald is being carried in a bubble by a UFO catcher. The Sega crane game. You have to break the bubble by hitting it with items or boosting into it. And then once you have broken it, you have to catch the emerald and get to the end of the stage, right? And you're allowed to use your continues here, which is what I always did, and it often led to me losing a lot of score because I'd use all my continues and then I'd get to the ranking screen and it'd be like -75. Like, thanks. At least I got the emerald. Because getting the emerald nets you the second page of cups. It's literally like the classic stages from Mario Kart Super Circuit, where you'd have to win a race with 100 coins, win a cup with 100 coins banked
to get the SNES tracks. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's literally like that. And now we can talk about the unlocks system
because oh boy, there's a lot of unlockables here. Character stages, colors.
And a lot of
like interesting music choices for the game, which the music that they went for in this game is interesting because it's not licensed. They literally just went with a bunch of rips from other people's works, but like a lot of original music as well.
Yeah, I found some of the original music on SoundCloud by the person who made it, and it's really good. It's like it includes the Dr. Robotnik's coaster, which is really good.
But then there's like weird choices like the Rivals of Aether theme from Flashy Goodness for I believe one of the characters there. And it's kind of a weird choice, but it fits the stage, but it's just like picked.
And speaking of ripped music, one musician has already gotten in contact with them to have them remove one of their tracks because they, oops. And that was something they did in the first update too, which is like, oh, we got to get rid of that really fast. Oopsies. But yeah, it's like really good music. But like a lot of the stuff you unlock is like collecting spray cans unlocks colors. And also the unlock grid is randomized per person or per account. And it's also built like a
Kirby Air Ride.
Kirby Air Ride specifically, yeah,
That's
where
where
like
started the checkerboard.
Yeah, the checkerboard, the checklist, where like every time you unlock something, you'll get to see hints for the surrounding boards, right? So a lot of them have to do with just like doing very specific, like basically just like a lot of them are just find a spray can, win cups, etc., etc. A lot of the character unlocks are like very specific, like using a specific character and having a specific thing happen. Like you can unlock Flicky by playing as Robobug and retiring because it causes your character to blow up, which, you know, frees the Flicky.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Funny. You unlock Rouge by completing one of the prison stages, which is like, it's literally like one of Rouge's stages. The fucking one where she's stealing the Chaos Emerald and she has 5 minutes to do it. It's just 5 minutes to do it. You have to clear that in exactly 5 minutes, which is funny, but also that's 5 minutes of not doing anything. That's one example of like the unlocks being a little overtuned.
Here's
like a lot
another
of the
example. One of my favorite unlocks requires having the game crash, as well as having add-ons applicable to the game.
Well, yeah. Well, you can just download those because there's a lot of add-ons.
I mean, the game just came out, so there's not a lot that'll work with it at the moment, and they're not backwards compatible.
To be fair, you get that achievement just by trying to load an add-on, even if it crashes. That's what happened with us. So you get both the crash character and the add-on character in one go. If you crash the game and then boot it back up, you'll unlock Jack Frost, who also a lot of these actually have double unlocks where like there's two different ways to unlock them. Like Jack Frost has like a secret way to unlock him by recruiting a party member is like the hint you get, which is weird. Mm-hmm. But if you load an add-on, you unlock
Carol from Freedom Planet, and it's just like, okay, Jack Frost I can understand because that's an Atlas property, which is also technically Sega Sammy Group, but nope, Carol is definitely from Galaxy Trial, which is a Waterloo-based company that has no relation to Sega, but they have a lot of like community camaraderie, so they can get away with it in that regard. But there's
the whole fucking idea behind it is that it's like a lot. Well, first off, I'm pretty sure they got the okay from the devs themselves because it's like the whole idea. The whole idea is the whole reason that Carol is in there is because Freedom Planet was literally like a Sonic inspired game.
Yes, I know this.
Duh. Easy. That's the connection. That's literally the fucking connection. As for the legality of it, well, I'll let you go off on that, but I'm just saying that's the connection.
I just think it's kind of weird that they like put some licensed characters in it like that aren't Sega properties, and like they may not have asked based on the fact that like we had the music sample issue.
They haven't asked Sega to make this game either.
Yeah.
The
Sega usually lets fan projects rock.
My argument is just that this thing isn't legal in the first place.
No.
If we're being perfectly honest, Sega can legally shut this shit down. That's within their right, but they're not. But they haven't because they're cooler than that, I guess. Point being, there's so many other characters too, right? Because like I saw one unlock that was really funny. That was like an Idol Master character, which is a Namco. That's a Namco property.
Yeah, there you go.
That's not correct.
Point in case.
And to be fair, you unlock this character on the Idol Master racetrack, which is from SRB 2K. That's still a Namco property. It's very funny stuff happening here. But a lot of there's a lot of deep cuts, and most of them are really cool.
Yeah.
But I would say that a lot of the unlocks are a little overtuned because the one I found was for Honey the Cat, which is like what you have to do
Fighting Vipers, by the way.
Yeah. Honey the Cat is the Sonic the Fighters character based on a Fighting Vipers character, which Sonic the Fighters is basically Fighting Vipers, but with Sonic characters. Funny, haha.
The mascot, anyway.
Yes. Anyways, you unlock Honey the Cat, in Grand Prix mode, you have to do the second prison stage and beat it in 55 seconds. So there's a number of issues here with it being locked to the Grand Prix mode specifically. First off, it's the second prison stage, so you have to get through 4 races first to even try this, right? Second off, in Grand Prix mode, you're only allowed 1 chance on the prison stages. You're not allowed to retry them. If you fuck it up, you gotta do those 4 races again. And you gotta make sure you beat them, because if you don't get 4th or better, you have to use a continue. The fact that it's all on Grand Prix mode makes it basically guarantees that it's going to be overtuned. Because just to get the attempt at it, you have to go through 4 races. And this is like it happens in the 14th cup too, that you unlock Honey the Cat.
It's just such a niche unlock and just such a niche requirement with such maddening requirements to boot. So it's just like a terrible combination all around.
It's giving me, like, just to go back to Kirby Air Ride, it's reminding me of those weird city trial missions which are just like, while riding this star, blow up this star.
You just literally replay the stage and just do that, though. That's the easy thing about that one.
Well, the problem with that is it's just tedious. It's like it's tedious, like having to do those 4 races over and over again, in a way where it's like, because like once you're just left with those missions and you're just left to just constantly go into city trial, find the stars you need. Oh, they didn't spawn. Try again. It's brain dead. It's dumb. It's tedious. Like doing those 4 races just to get your 1 attempt at this stupid thing. It's just that some of the unlock conditions are just like, can you like calm down a little bit? Can you please calm down? Because I don't think you fully thought through what that means.
Yeah, the devs definitely had to patch out a lot of things initially, so we'll have to see if they're going to continue to keep patching and tuning the game as it goes along here. Thankfully, we have cheat codes to skip a lot of the grind process for unlocking for situations like tournament.
Yeah, there are some cheat codes that are included in the text file too, in the text file with the game when you download it, which like let you skip the tutorial, all that good stuff. There's also there's like there's a tournament mode tournament mode cheat code, which is like unlocks basically all the important shit for you to play until you load the game back up.
This wasn't available in 2.0, if I recall.
I think it was. They just didn't tell you what it was.
Oh, okay. So the community did not catch on.
Yeah, the community. Yeah, they kind of. Okay, I want to talk about this just a tiny bit.
Sure.
Having this problem of like unlocks being about like having to unlock online mode or the time trials mode, and like, well, we put in cheat codes to let you unlock it early. It's like, okay. So the problem here is you've given a solution for a problem that you created. That's great, and it definitely is helpful, but it's kind of just like, I don't know why though. Why would you have that problem in the first place? I don't get it. And they did talk about like why they put time attack behind clearing all the cups. It's because it automatically sets you to like 150 cc and it's basically the fastest the game ever is. Right. So I guess they wanted you to have complete mastery before attempting it, and they were like, "Oh wait, people use this to practice, and also the ghosts can help. The staff ghosts can help them learn too." Shit, hang on, let's fix that really fast. So now it unlocks the moment you unlock a course.
Yep. What I have to say about that is, I mean, the problem does need solving for certain games over like gaming's history. Tournament organizers for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, when the game first came out, had to tediously grind through to unlock every single character in the game, with no other alternative, no cloud saves. This was before Nintendo actually put cloud saves with Nintendo Switch Online. So people had to actually play through these games and have the consoles available for actual esports events, which was frustrating to a lot of TOs.
Oof. Oh yeah, unlocking. Yeah, right. Unlocking things aren't appreciated by everybody because... Yeah.
Right. Having a cheat code is better than having absolutely nothing. So
having people come over to play Smash Brothers, but you don't have everything unlocked, so they can't play their mains. Oopsies.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We are hosted on mask31.dev/the-Reddmasq-podcast. You can also find us on Pocket Casts and wherever great podcasts are found.
You cut out again, by the way.
Did I cut out again? I think I. Oh no, I cut out again. I cut out again.
Snake.
I cut out again.
Snake.
God damn it.